There are two golden rules from Nelson to make a sound beer once it's in your fermenter: sanitation and sanitation. Okay, this means that you must not just scrupulously clean, but kill every microorganism that's not wanted in your system. If you are going to one day make a sour beer and use the same rubber or hose to then try to produce your Pilsner, you're going to make a sour Pilsner, and I'm here to tell you that's bad. So we need to kill those bacteria, and we need to kill them appropriately with heat and chemicals and time and temperature. And we need to set standards, and we need to write standard operating procedures around sterilizing in the CIP kit. You wrote that procedure. You did not write it for nothing. They can't just change it on a whim. Let's keep these systems to a standard. Let's keep these operators accountable, and let's test and follow up on the sanitation before we can claim that we're making sound beer. I mentioned CIP, and this sometimes daunts people. It's common in a brewery purchase and setup to forget about the equipment that we're going to need to clean, especially in a labor-rich enterprise like I'm finding in our local communities compared to my, let's say, affluent Western kind of approach to business, where labor is far more expensive. In fact, it's perhaps a guilty approach for some of the local operators to simply throw more labor at the problem. The right equipment is needed for the task, and it should be a dedicated clean in place system. This CIP stands for clean in place and sanitize in place. And the bare minimum, we saw, again, thanks to Mr. Murugan, a CIP kit coming as standard with the equipment these days. And with 2 pots, you can get the job done with a bit of labor, with a bit of caustic, with a bit of sanitizer, with a bit of patience, and a bit of energy for the heat. And you see, we can reduce our footprint and our load and our time if we have a more advanced equipment. So I'm saying get the piece of CIP equipment commensurate to your brewing needs. We can go from this, where we're starting with a 10 hectoliter brew house, which is cleaned very manually with simply caustic water and sanitizer. But we will surely advance as our business grows and not leave the cleaning equipment behind as we advance to 5 or 6 more pots in our CIP kit, which can then allow us to save more chemicals and heat and labor and time, and even cascade the rinse flows, saving water and sewage costs. So enough waffle about the brewery. What have I talked about today? Mainly me, haha. Well, let's just say, just a couple of comments to maybe spur on some discussion amongst yourselves, or even questions from you to me, and I make myself available. I think all things like business comes in waves and cycles, and our systems should be a chain of these cycles being constantly reviewed. As I mentioned, continuous improvement involves review and improvement on a regular basis. These chains can include supply. Our supply chains are growing. Our industry in India is flourishing. The number of suppliers coming on board to ventures such as this to meet our industry and our Chamber of Commerce will surely flourish as it gets more competitive to supply us with the latest hops and yeast, malt and equipment. We should not neglect them, but include them. The distribution channels for our finished beer, be they marketing and advertising chains that reach out and pull those throats into our brew pubs, or whether they be those truck drivers and point of sale agents that make sure our cans and bottles reach their final destination intact. These seem to be chains, but I'm here to tell you, we can join these links together. We are all cycles. We are all in this cycle together. Because did you know that truck drivers drink beer? Did you know that malt importers drink beer? I think you did. So let's have them together. Let's communicate and interface over a beer, and it's events such as this today that's going to bring our industry together and accelerate and catalyze the growth. And I want you to join with the industry people from all avenues. Don't shun them just because they're in marketing. Okay, shun them if they're in HR. But anyway, bring them together. Let's have a beer. Let's celebrate the growth of this fantastic brewing industry ahead of us. Let's do it properly on sound principles. And I join you this afternoon to close this cycle and irrigate the crops. No, I didn't say that. I mean, to finish off the evening with a refreshing beverage and toast our success. Cheers. Any questions? I would be happy to take a question from the floor. I would be very happy to take any questions from the floor on anything I've spoken about. As you can tell, I'm very, very enthusiastic, passionate about the industry. I was told what I don't know about brewing is not worth knowing, which I took offense to. What I don't know about brewing keeps me alive. That's my thirst for knowledge. Okay, there's going to be a lot more thirst today, isn't there? Please, a question. How do I think that India scores in terms of having these systems of quality and so forth? Just like the other industries, other nations before you, we are all sharing on a path in this brewing industry. America and Canada seem to have gone forth in craft beer. Europe has had its waves. And we are at that same stage where our craft brewers are underdeveloped, underdocumented. And many of our craft brewers that I've been interfacing here in Bangalore and wider in the south of India lack written procedures, lack written targets and specifications. And this is in stark contrast to the major operations, because I'm sure we have some very major brewers out there producing vast amounts of green bottles with red labels with yellow birds on them. Don't know, names will not be named. And I can tell you what their quality systems look like. And I think this quality system needs to be commensurate with your operation. As you start up your brewery, the pen and paper is suitable. And as my report card, I'm sadly saying that some of our craft brewers do not even yet have a pen and paper. Excellent. Maybe a microphone for our ladies' friends.
Hi. So you talked about how development in Bangalore, at least, and in India, for brewing has been very slow, or it's not been as advanced. Do you think it's maybe because of cultural taboos rather than scientific procedures not being up to date?
Thank you. I'm not qualified to talk on the cultural taboos of India, and I may have transgressed a few religious ones in my talk today, so I apologize. I'll say that it's the craft, it's the responsibility and direction of the craft players in our industry to push those boundaries, to challenge those taboos. And we're going to see that with the development of India's own unique styles of beer, such as your Hefeweizen and your wit beer, which are impressing me, but are not traditional. We have the perfect footing. Again, this technology is in the fledgling stage. It's guaranteed 200% to advance with the business influence. So I'm here from a developed industry. As I said to my young friend down here, I'm a bit of a beer surfer. Surfers don't surf the back of the wave. They're looking at what's coming. And this growth in technology, developing India's own unique strains, flavors, recipes, techniques, institutions, it's going to come. And we want to be part of it. So I have only enthusiasm to offer and no definite answer, sorry.
Can I? Okay. Your talk was wonderful, absolutely so entertaining. It's a little off topic, but I would love to hear your opinion. So there are a lot of regions in India with indigenous forms of alcohol, be it toddy or somewhere from the Northeast, consumed culturally as well. But I don't see it in the mainstream market, and it's all craft beer, a lot of which is completely westernized. So if, from your perspective, would you be interested to explore the cultural side of it, the more indigenous forms of brewing and fermenting, and how do you think it could, come into the mainstream market today? What's your take?
Wow, absolutely wonderful. Again, thank you. And you should feel so rich as a nation and as a blending of cultures and states that I'm only just finding out about. Sadly, all of the indigenous alcohol in Australia is forgotten. So as you have things, I'm just hearing about toddy. I'm just hearing about forms of fermentation and alcohol from your centuries old traditions that you have here to celebrate. And I'm backing you up that the mainstream factory lagers will not be taking that on board. They will be bringing their foreign influenced mainstream beers, and let them have that. I'm not one to turn down a factory lager, as I said, whether whatever color bird it has on the label. I mean, they are ripe avenues for our industry to draw inspiration from, and we should be bringing them out in our own unique cultural way to incorporate them. And it's places just like this here at High Brews where you're going to see the local ingredients and local influences, and it's part of our story. To the business-minded people, you know about markets, market share. We know about market dominance, and we have it in our terms, the share of throat. And I want to inspire the craft brewing sector and the entrepreneurs in the room to create new throats, to create new areas of growth and to flourish, and to bring these stories of cultural heritage, to bring these native ingredients into our story, something that we can own, something that will definitely grow, because the majors cannot do it. And that's our advantage.
Thank you.
I'm probably well over time. I'll take your guidance.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson, for your presentation. Earlier from the conversation that I had with him this morning, there's something that he said that really struck with me. He said, I can connect brewing to anything. And after this presentation, we all can agree that he lives and breathes brewing. Thank you so much for your presentation. Let's give a round of applause for him. And now I request Mr. Shivkumar Ishwaran, ICC Chairman, and Mr. Aditya Shivkumar Ishwaran, ICC Committee Chairman, appreciation and love to our Mr. Nelson for his amazing presentation. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Definitely. Wonderful.
Also, a fun note to follow up your question about culture and liquor, we do have a toddy on tap here, so.
Shubham karoti kalyanam arogya dana sampada. Shatru buddhi vinashaya deepa jyotir namostate. As it's a tradition in all our Indian events, let's move on with our lighting of the Kuthuvelakku, for which I request our ICC Chairman, Mr. Shivkumar Ishwaran, Mr. Aditya, Mr. Shayani Haribabu, and Mr. Sushil Kumar Ishwaran to light the Kuthuvelakku.
गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि तदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि गानचतुराय गानप्राणाय गानान्तरात्मने गानोत्सुकाय गानमत्ताय गानोत्सुकमनसे गुरुपूजिताय गुरुदैवताय गुरुकुलस्थायिने गुरुविक्रमाय तुह्यप्रवराय.
Thank you, dignitaries. Now I invite Mr. Shivkumar Ishwaran, ICC Chairman, Canadian Crystalline Chairman, and the Consul General Honorary of the Republic of Armenia to address the gathering.
Dear colleagues in the ICC, friends, ICC committee members, and dear members of this brewing industry. I stand before you as a chairman of the Indian Chamber of Commerce. For those who do not know what the Indian Chamber of Commerce is, I can explain to you. Indian Chamber of Commerce is the oldest chamber of commerce in this country. It's the mother of all chambers. This chamber was created by Sri Gandhi to have a body to look at lobbying for the Indian interest or the Indian business interest before the Indian independence. This body has become strong over the years, and not only has it grown, but also has mothered a whole lot of other organizations. CI, FICCI, ASSOCHAM, all come in from this mother organization called ICC. ICC is proudly in almost in 27 countries. We have our offices and associate offices across the length and breadth of our great country, India. We celebrate 100 years today, and we have the Steel King Abu Dhabi Jindal as our president for the year. What is ICC's role in industry? ICC or any chamber of commerce role is to bridge the gap between the industry and the stakeholders. We would want a conducive atmosphere so that this country can grow on. Today, we are the fourth biggest economy in the world. We could go on to be the second or the first in years' time. So this is the concept which ICC has started, and it's been doing decently well. ICC has a whole lot of conferences the whole year. We had our banking and finance conference. We had a Manaka Mahotsav last year in Bangalore. We did a conference on investment a couple of months back. And also we did a medical conference in Bangalore. ICC wants to put its footprints in Karnataka and ensure that Karnataka grows into becoming a most industrialized state. If you look at the beer industry in Karnataka, it's approximately $444 billion, which is about US dollars 5.4 billion. The projection is approximately for the year 2033 is almost $802 billion, which is really, really big. We have around 70 microbreweries in this state, and it's only going to grow. I feel and believe if a state has to improve, it has to have a congenial atmosphere for business. I am the Consul General Honorary of Republic of Armenia, and I get a lot of people coming to me from the erstwhile Soviet Union asking to put their foot down in India. when we try doing that, they all come to me and tell me that they would love to set foot in Bangalore because it's a wonderful state as far as hospitality is concerned. Hospitality is the backbone of any industrial country, and India has a brilliant hospitality industry. So, what is it we are trying to do here in this brewery conference? We are, this conference, we have brought the stakeholders, we have brought people who would want to invest in breweries. We would also want to, got people who want to invest in other allied forms in the brewery. We got them all here to understand what this industry is all about. I'm sure with the brewery industry growing at this pace, India would be the next biggest brewery giant in the whole of country. Nelson, I know you're here, but I'm sure India will beat Australia also soon. Now, what is it that I would want to convey here? We in the ICC have a wonderful pan-India membership. A membership in ICC will help you to grow your business not only in this country but also worldwide. So I urge you to become the members of ICC. You have a folder, and in that folder we have an ICC membership form too. So please go through it, and we have our regional director Uday here. You could contact him, and he would be able to, tell you how to go about. We also in ICC, we look at a whole lot of women empowerment, which is the basics. We also have a woman empowerment chair. I'm so happy that we are doing this conclave in Highbrew, which is which is owned by a woman, Amuda. Been happy, Amuda, you're here. This is what we are looking at. We are looking at women as a future for this country, and women empowers like her do make a big difference. I hope we have a lot more people like her joining this industry and ensuring they're successful. Also, I'd like to say that the state of Karnataka actually has a whole lot of wonderful, policies, which Karnataka is one of the states which has policies which is far more easier as far terms of excise. Unfortunately, excise is Gandhi's country. There are a whole lot of excise policy across the country, but Karnataka seems to have a very good and a welcoming policy. I urge you to invest in Karnataka in particular and all over the country in general in terms of brewery industry. And also, I hope that you would benefit from this conclave. This is not our first, and this will not be our last. We're going to do a whole lot of conclaves in the various other industries too. Please join us. Thank you. And very happy that you guys could stay over. We did have a little delay as far as the comments was concerned, and also the Honorable Minister unfortunately is delayed. So we'll surely wait for him. Thank you. God bless. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Now, to give a brief about the presentations that we've had so far and give a direction for the discussions ahead, I now welcome a young and a dynamic brewer driving innovation and growth in the industry. I welcome Mr. Aditya Shivkumar Ishwaran, ICC Committee Chairman, Brewery and Distillery and Head Brewer at Proda Brewing Technology Belgium Private Limited, to the dais.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you all for coming today. As we gather here for the ICC Brewery Conclave 2025, we stand an extraordinary moment because this is also the year ICC celebrates its centenary. It's been 100 years and it's going so strong. We have done so many events in the past related to financial, to textile, to agriculture. And now we're doing one for, well, my favorite industry, the brewing industry, because, that's where the beer is. So if you look over the past decade, India, how we have developed not only as an industry for craft beer, but even our clientele, even our consumers. We went from a commodity market 10 years ago to a discerning, sophisticated market now. Back then, 10 years ago, all these breweries, all these places peddling something saying, yeah, this is different from the lagers you get, and just expecting the customer to take it. That can't happen today. That can't happen in today's age. Our clientele, our industry is way more educated than that. We have an appreciation for the beverages we are being made. It's no longer a developing industry, I would say, because we see us going from just, not making beers which are a pale imitation of beers of other countries, but we are trying in our own context, making our own beers. If you look at the craft beer industry across India, for example, let's take the Belgian Triple. If you look at the Brewers Association guidelines or the BJCP guidelines for what constitutes a Belgian Triple, you'll realize that it tastes like nothing what we make in India. And that is because the style has evolved here. And I genuinely feel that it should be a style on its own and not just be called a Belgian Triple. And so on and so forth. We have come a long way, our industry, sorry. We have come a long way from just being a nascent industry. There's so many more states being much more lax, being much more relaxed now with their issuing of licenses. There are more industries popping up day by day, and it as a whole is helping our culture, our drinking culture. Because there is a saying, it's the nature of a thing that matters, not its form. And I would say that especially with craft beer in India. Because yes, while it's liquor, yes, you can get drunk of liquor. That's not the nature of it. There is difference in craft. Getting drunk is not the reason someone orders a glass of craft beer. It's the nature of it. It's sophisticated. It's culinary. And these are things which I really hope help develop our beverage industry. As of last year, our liquor industry has made $53 billion, and we have nowhere but up to go. Our beer consumption has actually gone up for the past 3 years, 40%, and not just your commercial craft, but craft in microbreweries. And this creates a beautiful context saying how much more our clientele can grow, how much more our customer base can grow, how much more our consumers can grow, and how much more this industry can grow. This event was made so that we have a forum for the brewing industry, for potential owners to brewers with their boots on, like myself and Nelson. We wanted this event to create context, to create a forum, a space to talk. So because this industry is the backbone of Karnataka, no two ways about it. And the only way to go is forward and upward. So thank you all for having me, and hope you enjoy the rest of this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Aditya. Next, we have a presentation on the topic, importance of selecting the brewery machines. And we have our presenter, Mr. Sushil Kumar Ishwaran, ICC Committee Chairman, Sustainability and Managing Director, Canadian Group. Can I please have you, sir?
Hi, good evening to all. I'm Sushil Ishwaran. I'm the Managing Director of Brother Brewery. A small briefing of the company till the presentation comes in. I'm making it a little more interactive, or rather very simple, to address certain technologies which are introduced by us in this field, and also which makes a large difference to the current situation, ESG. Everybody talks about ESG, I'm sure everybody knows environmental, social governance, and how is the brewery industry heading towards this kind of an initiative. So how can technology help, brewery technology help in driving the brewery industry towards net zero, as well as utilizing energy which is being produced, reutilizing, recycling energy. Here come again. So let me start. Till the presentation is going to be more visual to show you how the whole brewing process takes place and how technology actually transforms efficiency into this whole process. And so I'll see if they, what is it? Olive. So when I say stop, you stop. So we all know the beer is made out of malted barley and water, yeast, and other ingredients like hops and additives. So the basic technology in brewing is that every stage of what we are going to do should be efficient. We should be able to extract the maximum out of the grain, so that with a lower quantity or small, right quantity of the grain, we are able to produce the right desired quantity of beer. Just forward it. Yeah, a little behind. Little bit. Behind. Behind. Yeah, hold. So the brewing process, as we all know, starts with the, go back and stop there, with the malt mill. So what does a malt mill do? There are 2-roller malt mills, 4-roller malt mills, and 6-roller malt mills. The malt mill is the device which actually cracks the grain. Now, the cracking of the grain, which is we call the malted barley or any other malted grain, is very critical, because the endosperm, the starch in the grain, is going to be the one which is going to become sugar, and sugar is going to be converted to alcohol, which we all know. Now, while breaking this grain, if we overcrush it, we start losing the endosperm. When it starts dispersing, we have lost the endosperm, and then we are going to need more grain to produce the same quantity of beer. So one of the most critical things in what brewers call extraction starts with the malt mill. The grooves of this malt mill, or the way the rollers are devised or designed, is very important, and that's where technology comes to play. we call it a steep side technology of 4 to 8 degrees. So the way the rollers are cut so that the grain is broken into two, the husk is kept safe, but the endosperm is exposed. Fragmentation of the endosperm should be controlled. If it is not controlled, we would lose more the endosperm and we would need more grain, thereby creating loss to the company producing the beer because you need more grain. Also, the quality of the beer is going to deteriorate. So it's very important to start when we want to achieve an extraction of 95% plus. That means we want to maximum utilize the starch converted to sugar. We need to have a very, very robust technology on the malt milling. Many of the malt mills, mostly available, which I have seen in and around, crush the grain inappropriately, powder it. We are not here in the brewing industry. The brewer does not want to make a powder out of the, like a rice is crushed into a rice powder, or we are milling the wheat. No, we don't want to do that. We want just to crack the grain and hold the husk. And because the husk is very important, you will realize in the future, all the brewers struggle with one major thing. The major thing is called lautering, which will come later in the process. And you have a stuck mash. A stuck lauter is very, very difficult to, get it to working again. And also it wastes a lot of time for the brewer. Even they lose a lot of, quality time and work during this process. So the importance of the malt mill is as much as the importance of a great brewer. So there's no doubt that unless you have a extremely highly qualified and experienced brewer, you're not going to get there in making those quality beers, because most of the time we realize when we go, I'm sure you all would have experienced going to the wrong place, drinking the wrong beer. So we address them as YouTube brewers, people who see YouTubes and brew beer. Now, we are not talking about those brewers. We're really talking about those brewers like what we were talking, like Nelson or the other people here who understand the science behind brewing. So brewing is a science. It is a little more complex, and brewing equipment is a little more complex than kitchen equipment. A lot of people think brewing equipment is like tanks. So every time I go, how much is the cost of your tanks? So these are not tanks. These are state-of-art technology which are actually creating the right condition for the yeast to perform. And only then you're going to get the best beers. So when we move from the malt mill to the next process, the cracked grain with the husk exposing the endosperm in the right size, we are going to use this in our mashing process. The mashing process after the grain cracking is very critical. This is one of the places where you make or break the quality of the beer. You're going to extract sugars. And where are you extracting sugars? You're extracting sugars from the starch. How are we doing that? Malted barley has got two enzymes called alpha amylase and beta amylase. So these two enzymes naturally in the grain convert the starch to sugar. And how do they do it? And when do they do it? They do it at particular temperatures. So can you go back, please? When we are doing the mashing, the ideal temperatures for mashing ranges between, say, 48 to 78, in between this. Go back to the Murugan, can you help? Because I want the mashing. Yeah, mashing, not the lautering. Yeah. So, yeah. Can you play it for a second? Go a little behind. Yeah. Yeah. So you see the temperature mapping. You can see the temperature would start when mashing starts at around 48 or 50, and it gradually goes up to 78. Mashing is so critical because you want to extract the maximum sugar out of the starch. If you don't have sugar, you're not going to get alcohol. So you have to extract the maximum sugar out of the starch. At different temperatures, different sugars are formed. So you have short chain sugars, long chain sugars. When you do step mashing, you almost get 75 to 90% fermentable sugars. That's the advantage of step mashing. So what is step mashing? Which we have in our technology is that you can set various temperatures, and at each temperature, a different sugar comes out of the starch. And we can select those sugars by implementing or setting the temperatures at which you want the enzyme reaction to take place. There is another mashing style which is called infusion mashing. In infusion mashing, the difference is that there's only a small bandwidth of temperature used. Generally, people use an alpha amylase or a beta amylase, their bandwidth, and they finish with it. Each has got its own characteristics. Each creates the essence eventually what the beer will become. So it's important to select sugars, the right sugars, and a good brewer, he knows what to do. So in the technology we have, why technology is so important is because we give the flexibility to the brewer to select, depending on his recipe, what kind of sugars he wants to extract out of the starch. And when we talk about ESG and sustainability, the most important thing is, what is this doing? It is converting the starch to sugar. In a good technological equipment, well designed, it should be able to do 95 to 98%. In the larger equipments, it's 98, but in microbrewery, it's around 94 to 95. And this is the average which you should achieve. If you see most of the equipments which come in and which are considered tanks, by default, they do 65 to 70%, which is very poor. And it starts burning the pocket of the owner of the brewery because he's spending more grain to get the same quantity of beer to be produced. So mashing is very critical, and the flexibility we give in the technology is we can, in our equipment, run both infusion mashing and step mashing, depending on the type of recipe you require. So once we cross this stage, most of the people will say, I drank this beer, I had a hangover, like, you drink a Hayward's 5000 strong beer. They don't use purely malt. They put a lot of sugar in it. And because they put a lot of sugar, the long chain sugars are very difficult. They become long chain alcohol. They're very difficult to break down by our body, our system. Our liver struggles. So it's important to understand that when you went to a good place to drink beer and you can drink 2 to 3 liters, it's because the brewers have been smart enough to do the right thing, to give you the right experience. So mashing is very critical, not just in terms of the quality of the beer, but also in the financial aspect that we need to produce more sugar out of less grain quantity. Yeah. So once we made the sugar syrup, the next we go to lautering. The lautering is nothing but we are separating this grain which we used from the sugar syrup we made. But in this process, we are extracting all that which is left in the grain, still left in the grain. We need every bit of it to come out. And for that, the lautering, you can play, the lautering system has a bed in the bottom, which is a filtration bed. Its sizing is made in such a way that the grain does not escape. And what are we doing here? As I told you, the malt mill is very important because the breaking and the husk is important because the husk is going to form the filtration. So the brewing industry has always been very eco-friendly because it's using everything, every raw material to the maximum extent. And this has been there for ages. So the brewing industry uses the spent grain, now that we have extracted, to become the filter media. Now it's becoming the filter media. So the grain is settling down. When it settles down, can you go back? The grain settles down and this liquid sugar is filtering through it. So the grain is settling down and there is a filter plate which does not allow the grain to pass, but the sugar syrup to pass. So the design of the lottering system is very critical again because you want to ensure that all the last bit of a starch is getting converted to sugar and it's coming out. Not only that, you want to get a good clarity of the beer, what the brewer expects out of the filtration process. So the lottering system, to have a very efficient lottering system, the design of the lottering system incorporates a very large area of filtration in good systems. Why are some systems looking small? The brew house, the same brew house supposed to do 1,000 liter looking large is because brew houses are not designed properly in many places. They don't understand the science behind the brewing, that the area of filtration is so critical to achieve this 95% what we call extraction and a proper filtration or lottering as we call it in German. So if you do not have a proper area and the bed heights go beyond control, you're going to have a stuck. The liquid won't come out. You'll use the rake. So that's why we have the rake to release it. But that's not a good, indication of a good designed lottering system. So we go next. So after we have filtered the sugar syrup, we call it the wort. By lottering, we go to the boil. The boil is very important because one, it sterilizes. It sterilizes the total sugar syrup. Why we need sterilization? We can't have any microbiological contamination, pathological impurities in the wort when it goes to the fermentation, because the yeast is a microorganism and is very sensitive. If the yeast catches an infection, the whole batch is gone. You're going to have a bad beer. So the word boiling is critical in 2-3 areas. We don't want caramelization. That means we don't want the sugar syrup to burn. And like in your houses, you would have had, when you heat up sugar syrup, you'll get a burnt smell like caramel. We don't want the caramelization. We want it if the brewer wants it in that particular recipe, but we don't want it otherwise. So to avoid that, the technology which we called the pillow jackets or the dimple jackets, they provide steam, just the amount of steam required for heating the wort and sterilizing them. And during this process, of course, the brewer adds his hops, his other ingredients, which he wants to use as a part of his recipe. Energy is a very critical point at this phase. So if we want to create sustainability, we want to reuse this energy. So the steam coming out of the boil after it has dispensed with the DMS, which is what we want to remove, the bad things in beer, the volatiles which are not required. Once it comes out, that energy, that steam is now being reutilized by us. We are grabbing the temperature, we are utilizing it to make hot water for the next batch of mashing as the mash temperatures are low. Similarly, the boil, you can do a hard boil, a rigorous. So we control how rigorous the boil is. We can control it because we have multiple jackets. These are very, very advanced, very, what you can say, accurate gapped jackets where there's only a gap of around 1 to 3 mm for the steam to travel, so that the efficiency of transfer of heat to the kettle is maximum. So we have several jackets to be used at different points in the boil to give the right kind of final product which we are looking at without affecting the product itself by overheating or a burn or anything. So we do recover the energy at this stage, which is coming out of the boil. Yeah. So once the boil is over, the product now needs to, before it goes to the fermentation, needs to be stripped of the excess, the hops we have put in, it needs to be removed. The protein, excess protein, we don't want excess protein in the beer. It's not good for the yeast again. So we do the whirlpooling. The whirlpooling plate after the boil, the whirlpooling basically removes the excess protein and all the unnecessary additives we have used, which we have already extracted, as a form of a trub. So whirlpooling is nothing but spinning of the liquid, and we form a nice cake in the bottom, which can be removed eventually. So again, technology plays a role, because in most of home brewers, they don't do whirlpooling and they always land up with some kind of yeast infection or yeast misbehavior because of excess protein. So you can play it. So you can see once the whirlpool is over, you can it forms a trub in the bottom. The trub is basically like a cake, like in the center. And the rest of the liquid is now, which is hot because we have boiled it, now is going to be sent for cooling before fermentation. So we have the plate heat exchanger, again, an energy recovery device for sustainability to ensure we are in low carbon. We want to achieve carbon neutral. To achieve carbon neutral, everywhere we are able to grab, recycle energy, we have to do it. The PHE is another stage where we are reducing the temperature from 95 degrees to around 10 to 21 degrees, depending on the fermentation temperature. During this process, the water which is cooling down this hot liquid is becoming hot, and it is at 80 degrees. And this water is reused again in the preparation of your mashing process. So it's a closed loop cycle which we are doing, and we are ensuring that the cost of manufacturing the product and the energy which we are utilizing is recovered so that it's highly efficient and utilized for the purpose of brewing beer itself. So it's a closed loop cycle. So when we, in the plate heat exchanger, we cool down the beer, we go to the place, we send this cooled wort to the fermentation. So you can see the hot liquid and the cold liquid are mixing. So the hot liquid will become cool and the cold water becomes hot for the next cycle. So it's an energy recovery device, what the PHE is. And finally, the magic. The magic is not done by the brewer alone, like what Mr. Nelson said, that the work has to be done by the yeast, and the yeast is the star of the beer. And what we have actually done is created the right atmosphere, the right condition for the yeast to do its job. All this time, we are trying to create the right condition. And to understand, to create the right condition, you need a very evolved brewer, a technology which supports that control and efficiently delivers it. So when it comes to the fermentation, what happens is now it's left for the yeast to do its job. Again, what are we doing here? The design of the fermenter is very important again. The angle of the cone, the diameter to the height ratio of the fermenter, it will vary on the efficiency, how the yeast performs. The temperature controls we have on the jackets, as fermentation is exothermic, when the yeast is eating the sugar, it makes it into alcohol and CO2 gas. And all the kind of flavors you get, like banana or any other exciting flavors you get in beers, are not added, but are coming from the yeast itself. So when you drink a good Hefeweizen, it's not, the banana taste is not, we are not adding bananas. The yeast has produced the banana taste in it. So similarly, there are many, the yeast creates different kind of flavors in different kinds of yeast, and they have, most of the styles of beers are in the name of the yeast. The fermentation is critical because the yeast is actively eating. He's hungry, he's converting the starch to sugar. We should keep the temperature of the wort ideal to what the fermentation temperature is. If we don't have a temperature control which is accurate and delivers the right quantity of cooling glycol or whatever refrigerant we use, we overcool it or undercool it, we are not going to have a good yeast performance. So control systems, refrigeration jackets, sizing of the tanks, angles of the cones, the PLC, and eventually today we have AI modeling for everything, which is controlling all these processes automatically, ensuring they are not switching away from what is desired by the brewer, and what is required by the yeast has to be maintained. So the fermentation tank, fermentation is between 3 to 7 days. And when we give the ideal temperature to the to control the exothermic reaction, the yeast does a wonderful job. It does a phenomenal job. You've actually, coaxed it to do what it's supposed to do. It's just like a sprinter, you give him the right kind of energy drink and he's going to run. So similarly, the yeast does his job the way he's supposed to do. 3 or 7 days, 3 or 5 days, depending on the time of the fermentation of the product. The product is ready. You have beer. And the yeast is done. It needs to sleep. It's completed its job. So it needs to start settling. So you see in day 1, the yeast is on top. And in the day 7, when you play it, the yeast will start settling down because it's finished its job of eating. It needs to rest, go to sleep. So we need the right temperature to settle it, and also the right cone angles to get the flocculation, to settle it and separate it out of the beer we have produced. So again, it's technology. Again, it's efficiency of the fermenters, minimizing refrigeration loads, maximizing your production of quality beer. Once this is done, we condition the beer. We don't drink the beer immediately. None of the brewers, good brewers, will allow. In most of the places, I know in Gurugram at least, if you want to wash your stomach, you want to have a laxative, please go to, many of the breweries in Gurugram, you will have a free laxative. So that's because there's no science of brewing. People don't understand what to do. They don't have the right people to do the job, and they don't condition the beer. So when you drink a beer which is not conditioned, you'll have this, it does not have the finesse. It's very rough. You get a scratchy feeling in your throat and you wonder what's going wrong. So you have to condition the beer for, depending on each recipe, 5 to 7, 10. In lagers, it's a longer 10, 12 days. So when you condition the beer, the temperatures again are very critical. We crash the temperatures to 0 degree from our fermentation temperature, and then we are able to get that finesse. So with all this, the most important thing eventually is that we have the process, we have the mechanical systems, we have the designs, but all this has to be controlled. So the control systems are very important. So the PLC, which is AI enabled today, everybody wants AI enabling because AI can do a lot of correction which can be overseen. A brewer can take a lot of, pride in saying that he has built, actually he teaches the AI what to do. AI is learning from the brewer and keeps performing what the brewer does consistently well and sees as the right data for producing the right batch of beer. So the control systems are complex, but simple to use by the brewers. He has all his inputs in. He has to monitor the temperatures, the pressures, the various parameters which we control to create the right condition. And this is what is the last stage, as we say, as technology supporting the overall performance of the whole brewery. So a lot of things come together in a brewery, unlike tanks, storage tanks, or kitchen equipments where everything is overseen. A lot of technology is involved. And without this, even a good brewer would struggle. And a lot of good brewers in city, where I've tasted beers in many places, they vouch by their control systems. Many of them involve in introducing their aspects of control systems. Every brewer has his own recipe or additional education to that PLC. So this flexibility is there in all our systems, that it allows individual styles. So beers are always generally said in craft known by the brewers. So it creates the styles the brewer is creating and the flexibility the system offers. Similarly, in fermentation, we can give you open top fermentation. You want to have a great lager, you go for open top fermentation. You have closed fermentation. You can have horizontal fermentation. So several options in fermentation technology is provided to the brewer or that particular project to make that beer come out the right way as he wants. So these are the little inputs which I felt which are important. Technology comes in to ensure that brewing is going to happen better. There are a lot of new technologies which are coming, which our brewers are demanding. We have developed a mash filter. A mash filter is one where you can produce beer in a shorter period of time. The lottering takes X amount of hours, and the mash filter reduces it by 50–60%. We have vacuum evaporation. We can reduce the energy in the boil by around almost 40%. So vacuum boiling. So this is again introduced. Why? Because we are heading towards net zero and we are heading towards total sustainability of the industry. So we need to drive all technologies which support that initiative, which is driven and which is what the world needs today. So our responsibility as a technology provider is to ensure in all the knowledge we have transferred to build a better equipment, a more efficient and a very low energy consuming equipment. Thank you, guys. Anything you want, you can ask me. I didn't need it. Yeah. You have any questions? I can take it, or it's done. It's done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think you've clearly explained everything, that nobody has a question for you. I hope everybody has beer tasters in their table. So after a small segment, we're going to have a presentation from our head brewer, and he'll also be talking about the different flavors, and we'll be having our beer tasting session. So kindly wait, do not finish off your beers before that. So I'm now moving forward to a segment. We turn from policy to pages. It is time to celebrate a major milestone for the brewing industry for us today. We are delighted to to launch the 14th edition of the Brew Review, a magazine envisioned not just as a publication, but as a definitive of knowledge, compassion for the brewing industry. More than just pages bounded together, this edition is a culmination of months of collaborative thought, rigorous research, and a passionate storytelling. Right from the start, our mission was crystal clear: to build a platform that addresses the real challenges, innovations, and aspiration of India's dynamic brewing ecosystem, from microbrewery owners to craft beer pioneers to seasoned industrial professionals. The Brew Review goes beyond fleeting trends and headlines. It is designed as a research-rich, future-forward journal offering in-depth articles on brewing science, excise regulation, sustainability, consumer behavior, technology, adoption, and global best practices. So what makes this edition special is extremely effort by our editorial team, led by experts from the American Brewers, who've poured their experience and expertise into every article, insight, and interview. Every feature has been curated with purpose, fact-checked, fine-tuned, and framed to inspire actionable knowledge. So this isn't just a magazine you flip through, it's a reference guide, a thought leader's journal, a conversation starter, something you'll want to revisit again, reflect upon, and share with your teams. So now we're proud to present the Brew Review, for which I invite Mr. Jagdishwaran, the editor of the Brew Review, to launch the 14th edition of the magazine. I also invite our dignitaries, Mr. Shivkumar Ishwaran, Mr. Sushil Kumar Ishwaran, Mr. Sayani Haribabu, and Mr. Aditya Shivkumar Ishwaran to launch the magazine. So we're also proud to announce that going forward, the Brew Review will be published every month, becoming a consistent voice for the brewing community in India and beyond. So each issues will spotlight conversations with leading brewers, innovators, and policy influencers. So let's give a round of applause for the 14th edition of the Brew Review. Thank you, dignitaries. Now we've come to the heart of the conclave, the beer tasting session and the presentation by our ICC Committee Chairman, Brewery and Distillery and Head Brewer at Proda Brewery Technology Belgium Private Limited, Mr. Aditya Shivkumar.
Hi, everyone. So now to why you're all actually here. I mean, why does someone come to the brewery if not to, try the beers? So we were going to do a presentation on why the brewer matters. And I feel it does because especially in something like the craft industry, the brewer makes a world of difference because this isn't a factory where things are happening automatically. No, it's us brewers, we are putting our blood, sweat, and tears into it. We are putting our hands to it. And that's what leads to the beer. If you take any 5 brewers, you give us the same 5 ingredients and ask us to brew a beer, I promise you, all of us are going to think of a different recipe. And I think that's the beauty in craft. So let's start with the samplers I've already given you. So if you can see on your tray a glass called High Cloud, let's start with that. So the High Cloud is our most quintessential beer. It is a Hefeweizen, which is a German style of wheat beer. And So the things you need to know about this is you're going to get those notes of banana, bubblegum, and clove while having a very nice, light, sippable carbonated beer. And I think wheat beers are a backbone of all craft industry in Bangalore, because not just Bangalore, in India, because that's where the sales are at, that's where the volumes are at. And it's a nice segue away from, the lagers we're used to drinking. But on the topic of lagers, the next beer I want you to try is our High Cool. And it's the other lighter beer on your tray, High Cucumber or High Cool. Yeah, so those. So that is our cucumber salt and lime lager. So we wanted to make a very refreshing, summery lager that has been maturing for a while, has those nice, noble German lager characteristics, while bringing in the new taste. Have the nice cucumber, have the nice, refreshing backbone of the cucumber, and that's what we did with this one beer. It was a very fun beer for both Arjun and I to make. Yes. So the next beer we're going to talk about, let's do away with beers for a minute and address the elephant in the room. High Brew is the only brewery in Bangalore that has a coconut toddy on tap. So we wanted to give you the experience of, the kallu from your ure. We wanted people to have a taste of that and think back to their experience at home, to their native village. And that's what we wanted to bring. We wanted to bring, scientific excellence in the making of it, but in the context of a brewery, but, we wanted that local taste. And I think it's one of our most fun projects we have done for High Brew. And last but not least, we have our stout. Our stout is infused with coffee beans from a roastery called Humble Bean. And it has notes of those nice coffee, chocolate, roast, while still, having the backbone of a stout. So you still get that nice mouthfeel, you get the nice body of an imperial stout. So yeah, those are our 6 beers. I'm not gonna, yes. So yeah, those are our 6. I think, yeah, that's the perfect way to display what brewers we are, the art we have made in our glass. So Shlancha, hope you all like the beers we have put across today. Thank you. I also forgotten to mention, we did the opening start though. If you notice on your trays, we have a purple colored beer. So that is our sorghum sour made from locally sourced jowar. And we've used something called butterfly pea flower, which gives that beautiful purple color. So you get notes of lime, you get notes of citrus, you get notes of orange, while having that nice malty background, which is really facilitated by the jowar. I think it adds a really nice malty mouthfeel to the beer and is made a very excellent product. I love how it has come out. So yeah, sorry about that one. Forgot about that beer, but yeah, those are our 6 beers on tap.
Thank you, Mr. Aditya. Please enjoy your beers. Our next segment is going to be a panel discussion. While the stage is being prepped for it, enjoy your beers. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have a high energized panel discussion on the topic how to get into the brewing industry, an essential guide for aspiring brewers and entrepreneurs. So I am honored to be your moderator for this session, and I'm thrilled to be joined with the power-packed panelists. And I would like to introduce the panelists, and I request them to come forward and take their seats. I invite Mr. Arjun R. Malji, head brewer at American Brew Works, onto the dais. I request Dr. Amuda, partner at Hive Brewery. Next, I invite Mr. Karthik, partner at Kling Brewery. Next, I invite Mr. Arjun Saradi, general manager at Prada Brewery. Share the mics. Check. So dear panelists, thank you all for joining with us today. Let's share your expertise into the field. Now, my first question goes to Mr. Arjun Saradi. So let's begin with the crucial first step, the location of setting up a microbrewery. Mr. Saradi, in your experience, how important is the choice of location when establishing a microbrewery? And can you think it can make or break the success of the venture? Have this mic, please.
The person next to me will vouch for that. Oh, I think it was about 3-4 years back.
No, 2 years back.
years
Okay, to answer that question, I think let me join that. So when we wanted to start a brewery, we first approached product team because we wanted a microbrewery, right? Without the brewery equipment, we'll not be able to start anything. So then we started with that conversation, and then first, without even finding the location, we went to product. And then I met Arjun. Then he said, okay, I will look out for a location and all that. We came to JP Nagar, we came everywhere, we went everywhere, but somewhere we were missing, we couldn't find that right location. Then we went to Church Street, right? So that's where we, found our location. So you can answer the question, then probably I'll add on.
See, location wise, the footfall ratio is very important. It has to be in a place where people are going to keep coming in rotation. They have to keep coming, spend 2 hours. They need to be able to spend at least 2,000 to 3,000, which means that the income group in that area of 5-kilometer radius is very important. Which is why when we were looking at a lot of places, we kind of looked at places, but we were not sure of how many people are going to come, because there were a lot of other outlets as well. When we went to Church Street, and I insisted on a Saturday afternoon that you please go there. And the crowd that he saw, I still have 5-7 videos that you sent me, those crowded places that we saw. And that answers it. And the proof is in the pudding. Kling is doing well.
So to add to that, so I feel, yes, location, absolutely. We need a good location. But at the same time, you need to have a balance. You need to look at the rent. You need to look at the competition. You need to look at the compliance and all that. And also your target audience, right? You can't be, I've seen so many outlets doing wonderful. I mean, in terms of the products, like they have the best beers, they have the best food, but they're out of that location. They're somewhere there, people are not able to find, people are not able to go there. So at the same time, people are in a best location, but the products fail. They're not good at producing the best beers or the food. So you need to have a balance. And I think geography is, yes, 50%, but you need to kind of know the audience and set the right stage to build your brand.
Adding on the business angle of it, a good location saves about 50% of marketing budget. It will make sure the crowd comes in rather than you pull the crowd.
Yeah.
A good location saves you that 50% of allocated marketing budget.
So now that we understand that location plays a key role, like Kling itself is an example here, I have one last question for you, Mr. Arjun. I want to know from the broader perspective, what's your outlook on the growth rate of microbreweries and craft beer in India? And are we still in the early innings, or are we headed towards saturation? What do you think is the growth rate?
It's still a baby trying to walk. Certain industries, rather the brewing industry, has been many, many centuries. Craft beer industry in India, maximum 20 years? Still a baby. So there's still so much unexplored that our brain is not yet, understood that, this is out there. It will happen. For example, when theaters were there, Netflix came. You're going to see that as well in craft. It's going to be only on the upward scale.
Thank you, Arjun. And my next question is to you, Dr. Amuda. You're here at your home ground, High Brew Brewery, and you're a trailblazer in this place leading the dynamic brewing industry. So I would, we all here would want to know what inspired you into getting into this industry. And I would like to know, was it passion or the opportunity that was available for you?
Hi, myself, I'm Dr. Amuda by profession. So basically, I'm a doctor. The passion brought me to this brewing industry. So where we found there was a gap between the craft beers and the peoples who like it. So we were usually being given with the wheat beer, stout beer, and the repeated beers. So where our team came personally with some seasonal beers. So, and we are getting strong in that. So we have a very good numbers of seasonal beers like cucumber beer, smoke beer, mango beer, like toddy beer. So we have a very great brew master, like a brew master, the head brewer, Mr. Arjun. So, and I personally have interest in understanding the hops, how the flavors, how the brewers make those flavors, how it comes. So personally, my passion drove me into this, the beer experience, where I found Bangalore is a very good place to get the people's, they get more come together for the beer. So we came out with an idea with the forest view. So we want people to come closer with the nature, with their beers. And we want to be a part of their stories in our place.
I mean, there's no doubt it's an amazing setup here.
Yes.
But like, I would want to know what is that one spark that you had? I'm like, I'm setting up a brewery, a microbrewery. What is that one thing that sparked you?
I personally love beer.
You love your love for beers is what.
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome, awesome, Dr.
Yeah.
Amada.
Yeah.
And my next question to you is, this is from a business lens. So is there an ideal pricing range for a better attraction for your beers? So
Yes. So our brewers select very standard raw materials. So in case of malt, hops, and all the raw materials. So we spend a lot in procuring them. So we want to keep up our standards in the taste and in the quality. So we don't want to miss that.
so how do you strike the balance between
the
your
balance is-
quality and the pricing ranges?
The balance is we give more importance for the art. We give more
Just a
importance
second,
for
I
the
kindly
experience.
request the audience to please remain silent as we have the panelists speaking. I kindly request the audience. Yes, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So we are giving the best raw materials. So we find difficult in procuring them, but we want to give we want to maintain our quality.
Yes.
Yes. So our beer's prices starts from around 190. We end at 290. So that's it. So apart from the pricing, we want them to experience it, the taste.
It's actually pretty
Yes.
thin pricing. For
Very,
the
very decent pricing. We are the low in the market. and
190 to
yes,
290.
with the standard materials, with the quality materials, we are giving the best.
That's
We
actually
need
awesome.
we need everyone to come and experience the beer, the art, the flavors, the master's beer. That's it.
That actually brings me to the question of Mr. Arjun, our brewer. So, as someone who lives and breathes the science of beer, and how do you ensure the consistency in the quality and flavors across the batches? And what systems or practices do you swear by?
So the first and foremost thing I would say is the hygiene maintenance in the brewery. So I mean, like when I'm back in the days when I was in UP, we had assistant vice president for brewing, Mr. Ganesh Ramo. He used to tell us, "You guys are not brewers, you guys are cleaners. Ensure your brewery is clean, and you are not here for brewing. You are here to run the ETP. Ensure your ETP running is 80% and 20% is part-time brewing." You used to tell us. So that's what like. The hygiene is of utmost importance in any brewery, obviously. And the cleaning procedure, the cleaning chemicals that you employ, the cleaning pressure, time, temperature, and all of things matters a lot. And also the quality of raw materials that you procure, the freshness of the raw materials, like how Nelson mentioned, the COA, the certificate of analysis. Many people don't know in here what is certificate of analysis. They just get raw materials and just start brewing. But we don't do that. I mean, like all our malt, hops, and yeast are always from Germany, mostly, or else from the US and Australia and New Zealand. And we don't use any, I would say, very cheap kind of raw materials also. But like I said, hygiene plays a very big role in maintaining the quality and consistency, and also the raw materials that you use. They have to be very fresh, and you should know what raw material will be giving you what kind of flavor. And as it's rightly told, brewing is an art. You have to imagine, okay, this might give this flavor and this color. These days you have all the softwares and all of that, but still the taste perception, you have to think how it might turn out. And if it turns out very well, very good. If not, have a backup plan to make it turn that way, but not by adding any preservatives or anything like that, in a natural way.
You've talked about raw materials and the cleanliness. I would also like to know what role procuring and choosing the right equipment vendor adds to the quality of the beer.
Yeah, you see, the right equipment for brewing is very important, because as Mr. Sushil and Nelson also told, that will start burning the pockets of the owners who don't have a high efficiency systems. So in microbreweries, it's 95%, and commercials, it's 98%, and wherever you have mash filter, it's above 104, 105% efficiency. But you see, like as and how the technology has developed, we should take advantage of the technology. And you see, like in previous stages, after lottering is completed, they used to have the wooden vats to do the lottering. It was not steel also, it was just pure wood, with just slight gaps in between the woods. With the help of chisel and spanner, they used to do the cravings on the false bottoming. But as and how technology has developed, we have a CNC cutting machines, and we have the most advanced lotter tons and all of that thing. Before, they used to sparge it just in buckets of hot water. They used to throw it in the vessels. But now we have spraying nozzles and everything.
So what is that one thing that you keep in mind when you're choosing your vendor? What do you think that microbreweries should keep in mind when they're choosing their vendor?
You should see the tank design, how well and how efficient the system is. I mean, like the jacket sizing, the shape of the vessel, and the design of the vessel. Before, it used to be cylinder conical. Now there are like raking arms in the vessel, which helps you transfer the very crystal clear beers. You don't mix up the yeast a lot to it. So the design, the head spacing that is there, the quality of steel that is used, it matters a lot these days.
Thank you, Mr. Arjun. Arjun did speak about the brewing technology, but I would like to know more about it from Mr. Karthik here at Kling Brewery. I would want to know, how does the technology, brewing technology, plays an important role in the success of a brewery, of a microbrewery?
So I think technology-wise, I think it's better the experts talk about it. I can talk about the location. I can talk about the business angle, but I think AI has caught up, and I think the technology is also kind of catching up with the brewing, with the brewing. And I'm sure that there are a lot of scope for technology, which when you look at the decade-old, equipments would have been completely different. I know now the equipments would be different, and the technology has been different. I'm sure the next 5 years down the line, there will be some AI used and technology used in the brewing thing, and with the restaurant space as well. There are a lot of technologies being used as of now.
One more question to you. So we have, how does alcohol and food together play an important role in the success of a microbrewery?
It plays a major role. There's now people come for experience. Forget about location and all that. People come for experience, and you give that experience. You pair beers with food, and there are a lot of, now there's even cocktails catching up now, cocktails and food pairing. If you go to there's, the Bangkok, there's one place where just nothing, it's just on the rooftop, no ambience, nothing, just a, few chairs, and you get amazing cocktails, but they don't have food. They just have main course and cocktails. For example, if you have tiramisu, what goes with that? What kind of a cocktail goes with it? Same with the beer, right? Beer goes with certain food, like for, tawa or tandoor, something spicy, smoky. I think that would go well. So there are a lot of things, which goes with
This
the food.
answer actually wants me to ask, out of curiosity, ask each and every one of you this last question before we wind up with the panel. It will be great if each and one of you tell us indeed that what is that one beer flavor, your go-to beer flavor and paired with the food. So one favorite beer flavor and your one favorite food. We can start with our brewer
Yes.
itself.
So my favorite beer would be a Rauk beer paired with bacon wrapped prawns. That-
Reason.
Yeah, because you see, I love a lot of smoky and peaty whiskeys. So when we first made Rauk beer back in Bangalore in 2016 in Big Brewski, it was a big hit. So I told madam, let's make a Rauk beer, and then she asked me what food pairing would go well with it. Then immediately remembered bacon. It smells exactly like bacon. So I told bacon wrapped prawns would go very well with it. But again, indeed, it has gone very well with the beer. That's my favorite.
Awesome. Arjun Sardi, can we?
I'm an old school Bangalore boy. For me, a good lager with a good, probably a good chicken tikka. Paneer tikka also, for the vegetarians, I'm saying this.
Yeah.
But yeah, old school good lager.
That's awesome. Dr. Amada, what is your take?
Yeah, mine will be toddy with neer dosa and atta kalpaya.
Oh, damn,
Yes.
that was not something that I was, but like reason.
It goes very well as it's an coastal food,
Hmm.
coastal drink also. So it goes very well with it.
That's actually a very
Yeah, you have
interesting
to try it.
combination. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm a very old school guy, I'm from Mangalore.
Same
So
as our
yeah, so
Mr.
give me like neer dosa or a nice boiled rice. I'll eat. I don't mind what beer it is. I'll just go with beer and have my own food. The, the rice.
Oh,
So,
spoken as a true beer lover. Anything. At as long as he has a beer in his hand, I think anything is fine. Thank you so much, panelists. It was great to have each and every one of you here. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and experience. Let's give a round of applause to our panelists here. Can we please have Dr. Amuda and Mr. Karthik to stay back? Can we please have Dr. Amuda and Karthik to stay back? I request Mr. Shivkumar Ishwaran to give a small token of appreciation to Mr. Karthik, partner at Kling Brewery, and to Mr. Let's give a round of applause to Mr. Karthik. Thank you, sir. Now I request Mr. Shivkumar Ishwaran to give a memento to Dr. Amuda, owner of Highbrew Brewery. Please give a round of applause. Thank you, dear panelists. And thanks to myself for moderating this session. Thank you. And now, as we've come to this hour-long conclave, I invite Mr. Sayani Haribabu to give the word of thanks.
Thank you, Sunidra. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sayani Haribabu, ICC Chair for Decarbonization, Climate Change and HVAC from Chennai. It is indeed my pleasure to speak with you today evening, and I want to start by extending my gratitude to our most dynamic and inspirational ICC South Zone Chairman and Consul General of Armenia, Mr. Shivkumar Iswaran, along with Mr. Sushil Kumar, Mr. Aditya, who made this ICC Brewery Conclave 2025 a grand success with the support of all stakeholders and an excellent organizing team. A special thanks to our esteemed guests, dignitaries, brewery owners, investors, sponsors, and all delegates for your participation in spite of delay due to change in schedule and delay of our Honorable Excise Minister due to some urgent CM meeting. For the past few hours, we witnessed a powerful exchange of ideas and technical talks on brewing and presentation from our sponsors. The key takeaways that emerged from our discussion with our world-class expert, Mr. Nelson, on brewing, methods, process, importance of documentation, and Mr. Sushil briefed on selection of right brewery missions, innovation with state-of-art missions, process selection of right temperature sugars, AI support, sustainability, net zero energy, and very energy efficient process. And Mr. Aditya talk on market potential for brewing in Karnataka, and an excellent and informative panel discussion or case study conducted by Ms. Sunitra, centering around high brew and the standards they maintain. And these are not just deliberation or conversations, but they are loaded with vast information and a roadmap for the future of brewing in India, which we need to inculcate. We saw how technology from hybrid fermentation is going to catch up in India, and we will be a part in our brewing process and creating world-class crafted, curated brewed beer. We found a clear consensus on the need for simpler, more consistent regulations across states to help our brewing sector thrive. And it was heartening to see the industry's commitment to sustainability, net zero, and eco-friendly practices. These discussions are just the beginning, and I am confident the networking connections made here will lead to impactful business collaborations. This brings me to the core message I want to leave you with. The Indian Chamber of Commerce is committed to being your partner in this journey. Our goal is to help your business grow and thrive, and membership is a powerful way to do just that. An ICC membership offers you a host of valuable benefits. We serve as a vital link between the industry and the government, advocating for policies that support your interests. Our specialized services like our arbitration cell can help resolve commercial disputes, while our B2B or trade desk opens up new business leads both domestically and internationally. You will also get expert advice on everything from taxation to labor laws, and can promote your achievements through our social media platforms. We host regular events, seminars, and international fairs that serve as platforms for you to connect and create new opportunities. And through our specialized business delegations, you can explore new markets and partnerships overseas. In essence, the ICC is here to be your voice, your network, and your resource. We are committed to fostering an environment where innovation can flourish, policies are streamlined, and business can succeed. Let's work together to build a vibrant and globally competitive Indian brewing industry. Thank you once again. Thank you all. Thanks for your patience.
Thank you. Check. Thank you, Mr. Sayani Haribabu. And thank you to each and every one of you for being with us for the entire event. Thank you for coming today. I hope you have your beer coupons. You can use them to get a glass of beer. And now we're going to have a small beer tour headed by Mr. Aditya Shivkumar Ishwaran and our brewmaster, Mr. Arjun. So have fun, happy brewing, and yay to craftsmanship. Thank you.
Very big thank you to Sunetra for being a wonderful host.